Professor K. My name is Brandy Garcia. This is my speech on 3 ways that I am like my mother for your Hybird speech online class. There's 5 individuals attending this speech. They're all being videotaped. The camera person is acting as character number 5. And I will begin my speech. Steve Joybell once said that our parents can show us a lot of things. They can show us how we are to be, what things we ought to strive for, or what they can show us how not to be, and what things we ought to stray from. Then you may have the kind of parents that show you all the things about you that you want to get rid of. And you may realize that those traits aren't always at all yours, but merely your parents' marks that have been rubbed off on you. This quote shows your relationship with your parents, and overall how, as we get older and become adults, some of their characteristics actually pertain to us or actually rub off on us. Growing up as a kid, I imagined getting away from my hometown. I couldn't stand my mom half the time. I was a typical teenager. And I didn't realize until I became an adult and had children of my own the importance of what good characteristics matter and what can influence them as they get older. My mom got pregnant at the age of 16 with her first child. There's 3 girls. She was young, she had no education, a high school dropout. She was learning life the hard way, got divorced at 18 when her husband left her. One of the characteristics that I admire about my mom is her strength. She was able to adapt to the roles of motherhood. She was able to take a child from a young age and raise her. And those are qualities that I carry for myself today. Sometimes those qualities weren't always the best qualities, or at least I didn't think so growing up. But today I realize that some of her decisions that she did was to benefit us overall as a whole. And that leads me to quality number 2 that I love so much about my mom. Her decisions to easily have that strength to just do what's best for her children even though it hurts. All 3 of us grew up by my grandmother who raised us. And at the time, I thought it was abandonment from my mother's point, but realizing now that she knew she was unfit at that time to be a mom, she allowed us to grow up with our grandmother and take on that role. So as a parent, I can totally understand at this point being able to adapt to motherhood and taking on that role, and how hard it can be to make decisions that best influence your child. My 3rd trait from my mom is her independence and her strong mind. She's always had the ability to be her own person. She didn't care what anybody thinks about her. And she adapted to that role so well. She can walk into a room and her presence is just crazy. It's wild, it's fun, it's free. And while others think it's totally an embarrassment, which I did at a younger age the majority of the time, it was her sense to be that person that I love so much. And that's another quality that I've taken on from her. I can enter a room now with that confidence that I don't have to be somebody that I'm not. I am who I am, and I hope to carry that characteristic to my children. So although we grow up and we're children and we hate our parents, we learn to adapt to, I guess, what qualities we want and which ones we don't. A soon-to-be mom of 2, I hope to have my children be able to look back one day like I am and say, you know what, I want to be like this way that my mom was, or I want to be crazy and wild, or I want to be able to focus when it's time to focus and get an education and better myself. Those are all qualities I wish my children would have.